Do you have a clear professional identity as a therapist? Or are you a generalist who's kind of all over the place and does a little bit of everything? If so, unfortunately, you are going to have a harder time differentiating yourself in a very competitive marketplace if you're in private practice, and you're going to have a harder time being successful. That's why on this episode of Love, Happiness, and Success for Therapists, we are talking about finding your niche as a therapist and how carving out a strong specialty for yourself can help you thrive in your therapy practice. Over the course of our time together today, I'm going to give you the 5 steps that you can use to clarify your niche and start attracting your ideal clients. We'll talk about why you should not be a generalist, the steps you can take to get career clarity, how to succeed in your lane once you find it, and then also the professional development activities that will help you grow into the highest and best version of your professional self. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you've found me. I'm Dr. Lisa Marie Bobby. I am, too, a therapist. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I am a licensed psychologist, a board-certified coach, and I'm also the founder of Growing Self Counseling and Coaching. Additionally, I am an AAMFT approved clinical supervisor, and so part of my professional practice is providing supervision to developing therapists, which is something that I love. And every week I'm here with you on Love, Happiness, and Success for Therapists, where we grapple with the fact that we have chosen a challenging profession, but one that is incredibly rewarding, growth promoting, and that can be ultra positive. But we have some things to be thinking about and doing professionally in order to make that happen. And so that's why today I really wanted to talk about this idea of specialization and give you some direction on how to do this so that your therapy career is really as meaningful and satisfying and prosperous, honestly, as possible, because you deserve that. So let's get into this. And the first thing I want to talk about is why it really is so important for all of us therapists to be thinking about what are we really doing and getting clear about that area of specialization. The world of therapy is absolutely vast, right? There are so many directions in which we could take this career. And so that's why finding that specialization, that niche, is really essential both for your personal fulfillment, but also for your professional success. And first of all, specializing in one specific area allows you to really hone your skills, become very good at helping people solve particular types of problems. And in that way, you build a professional reputation, and you also attract clients who need your particular expertise. This also helps you differentiate yourself from other therapists, which, particularly if you're a therapist in private practice, makes your marketing efforts much more targeted and therefore much more effective. Again, moreover, a niche can lead to greater job satisfaction as you are more likely to work with clients whose issues you are passionate about and who you have this sense of competence around, yeah, I know how to help you, rather than feeling a lot of stress and anxiety, which we've all faced when we're connecting with a client who is kind of at the margins of the scope of our practice competence. And that's not a good feeling for you, but it also tends to not create the best outcomes for them. So these are all reasons why we need to really master our specific craft and avoid this hope of being a generalist who does a little bit of everything. That's really not good for anybody. In my own case, just like you, I went to counseling school knowing that I wanted to be a therapist, but not exactly sure what flavor of therapist I wanted to be. I explored being a child psychologist, just a adult individual therapist, and finally landed on being a marriage and family therapist because that's what was most meaningful and satisfying for me as a career path. Then, of course, I wound up specializing even further. Yes, I got a PhD in counseling psychology because I'm a nerd nerd and I want to know everything about everything. But truly, in practice, I am a marriage and family therapist who specializes in coaching. In fact, I specialize in love, happiness, success, and growth, and that's it. I don't do clinical mental health. I don't do substance use disorders. I don't really do trauma. There's all kinds of stuff that I don't do because I am super clear about what I do, which is helping people create more love, happiness, and success through evidence-based coaching psychology, the foundation of which is built on my expertise as a marriage and family therapist. That's it. That's why people come to me. If you're in that space where you are still trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, you're like, yes, I want to be a therapist, got that, but what kind of therapist? I just want to share with you straight out that this is not something that happened in the flip of a switch. This is a growth process that I had to undertake, and honestly, it evolved over the course of a number of years. So don't beat yourself up if you're still in the middle of this. In my experience, it really does take some time. And part of what we need to do in this process is put ourselves in different situations so that we can get life experience that helps inform our understanding of what we like, what we don't like, what we're good at, what we're not good at, so that these things then can build into, okay, I think I know where I'm going. That's kind of the big picture process of this, but let's talk a little bit more about specifically how to get that clarity for yourself in your own professional development process. Step number one is to give yourself time and space to do some self-reflection and honestly self-assessment. This means assessing your interests, doing some journaling. You might even consider taking a formal assessment. Something like Clifton's Strengths Finder is fantastic because it gives you visibility into the things that you're really good at and the natural talents and gifts that are worth cultivating further. You can also spend time thinking about your passions and the things that you are most excited about. If you want to do some digging here, I would consider the following questions, like, what types of clients do you enjoy working with the most? Of course, you probably love all your clients, but who are the clients that you feel particularly excited about, and do they have anything in common? Additionally, just in general, I mean, like not just in your professional life, but in your whole personal life, what kinds of things are you most passionate about? What excites you? And then think about if there are therapeutic approaches or certain presenting issues that really resonate with you and that you feel a calling to really serve people who are dealing with these issues, or through the lens of this therapeutic model that feels like it's really a strong alignment with your personal values and your way of being. Additionally, you can think about the personal experiences or contextual background, like things that you've lived through or learned along the way that you can now bring into this practice that could really be of so much benefit in the lives of others. And in doing so, you can experience what I firmly believe is one of the coolest things about our shared profession. So, for example, if you have lived through a legitimately difficult life experience, perhaps you yourself are a trauma survivor, or you had a really difficult postpartum experience after having a child, an amazingly healing way for us to make that mean something is by turning that life experience into a deep felt ability to be of service in a powerful way in the lives of others. We get to do that. Isn't that cool? So let's just pause there for a moment and think about what that means to you. What feels like the life experience that maybe you did not actually love having or wouldn't want to go through again, but when you really think about it, think about how this this changed you, how this gave you insight into this kind of life experience and made you uniquely able to be of service to other people who are going through that same thing. That is such a powerful area of exploration. It can certainly help you clarify a niche that feels very much in alignment with you, but also just remind you of the fact that you are actually a hero on a mission to do amazing things in the world. But it's only when we make contact with that kind of straight line between our life experience and what we're here to do, that's when the magic really happens. So give yourself some time and space to reflect on these questions. Do some journaling. Could be a great opportunity to talk to a career coach who can help you get clarity if that's hard to do on your own. You might also consider talking to people that are, happy in their line of work as therapists and just doing some informational interviewing. Anything that can sort of help you dig in to how you feel, what you think, what you want so that you get clarity through that self-assessment process. And then once you have that, you can turn your energy into gaining more experience. So give yourself some time and space to reflect on these questions. Do some journaling. Could be a great opportunity to talk to a career coach who can help you get clarity if that's hard to do on your own. You might also consider talking to people that are, happy in their line of work as therapists and just doing some informational interviewing. Anything that can sort of help you dig in to how you feel, what you think, what you want so that you get clarity through that self-assessment process. And then once you have that, you can turn your energy into gaining more experience. And this is really important to do. And that's after you identify what you think you might like to do, or perhaps even a few potential niches or areas of specialization, gaining more information and maybe even some practical experience is crucial, because we don't really know what something is going to be like until we do it. And it is also true that becoming a specialist in our shared profession does often require things like additional education or certification or training in order to be that. And so before you put in that investment of time, of money, of blood, sweat, and tears, it's important that you're pretty sure you're going in the right direction. And so this kind of experience can be done through things like internships, volunteer work, perhaps a supervised practice, or maybe even if you have opportunities to take a different job for a little while that would give you a way to start working with different populations or presenting issues. These are the things that will help you get confirmation about what you enjoy, where you excel, and what's truly worth your investment in your professional development. And pro tip, putting yourself into these different situations, new environments, talking to different kinds of people also gives you a fantastic opportunity to start building a new professional network within your chosen niche. The third step here is going ahead and pulling the trigger and signing up for continuing education, certification. Maybe it's a different degree. Maybe it is a course that you take, or maybe it is taking a job that gives you the day-to-day work experience, the supervision, the mentorship that you really do need in order to develop robust competencies in your chosen niche. So invest in this continuing education, either formally or perhaps informally, to deepen your knowledge, because many of these specializations have really specific certifications that not only give you additional competencies and confidence in doing a really good job of providing services to your chosen client population or specific presenting issues, but they also go a long way in enhancing your professional credibility. And also, if you're you're in private practice, attracting the kinds of clients that you really want to work with. Also, it could be helpful to develop a larger concept of continuing education. In addition to the things that we've talked about, know that this can be multidimensional. You can also be attending weekend workshops, going to conferences or other seminars related to your niche. You can be reading books on the topic. But when you show up in real life at events, it not only provides valuable learning opportunities, but also a chance to connect with other professionals in your field so that you can begin forming relationships that become the backbone of a professional support network. As I mentioned in my own growth process, as I became more aware of what it was that I really wanted to do and what felt most exciting for me professionally, which is really getting good at helping people create outcomes. And I was much less interested in mental health treatment and much more interested in growth and personal development just because of my own life experiences and my personality. That was one of the reasons why coaching really fit for me. And that's why I essentially went back to school to become certified as a board certified coach. And I can tell you that I have never looked back. I feel like it took everything that I learned about how to be a good therapist, but then amplified it in a way that really helped me be more successful with the clients that I wanted to work with. And I will just tell you, as you're sort of casting about for what it is that you might like to do, consider coaching. Therapists who coach are in high demand. They're also fairly rare and typically much more highly compensated than either therapists who are operating in a medical model or just coaches who don't have our background. So there's a lot here for you to explore. And then additionally, with coaching, you can not just be a certified coach, but really use a coaching model with a very well-developed subject matter expertise to turbocharge your entire professional experience. For example, you could be a therapist who specializes in parenting and really put yourself out there as a parenting coach who can get in there and help families make real and lasting change. That's the kind of intersectionality that I'm talking about with therapy and coaching. On that note, as you probably know if you've listened to this podcast before, in addition to being a very happy coach, I am also a counselor educator and a coaching educator, and I have put together a brand new free resource that if you are coaching curious, I really hope you take advantage of. It is a totally free 2-part training that will give you visibility into your long-term professional goals, whether or not you become a coach, but you'll get visibility into like your 10-year life plan kind of thing. And then it will walk you through a series of exercises to help you get clarity around which subgenre of the therapeutic profession, you might say, would help you attain those outcomes. It'll also give you more information into what coaching actually is, how to become a certified coach should you choose to do that. But either way, you will also get a workbook that will help you create an action plan to move forward professionally in whatever direction you ultimately decide is best for you. If you decide to double down on a specific therapy niche and become a highly qualified clinical mental health therapist who specializes in a type of trauma experience. I want to do trauma work with first responders. Like, that is fantastic. This learning experience that I've made for you will help you develop your action plan to make that happen. Again, it is completely free. Come to my website, growingself.com/coach, to take this free training, grab the workbook, do all the learning experiences, because I made it for you. After self-assessment, after you've gained experience, after you develop yourself and get more education, there's actually a fourth super important step to this if you are a therapist in private practice. And that is attending to your marketing efforts to highlight this area of very special expertise that people need to know about. Specifically, your marketing efforts should clearly communicate what makes you special and different and the benefits of working with you. Here are some more tips for effective niche marketing. First of all, if you have a website, you're going to want to rebrand it. This means you're rewriting the things to be able to highlight your niche, including your qualifications, like those new credentials you just got, qualifications, your experience, as well as your services. You might even consider starting a little blog where you can share your insights and information related to your niche specifically. Additionally, you're going to want to network. Maybe you've started this already by attending conferences and going to trainings, but it's really important to be connecting with other professionals. And this means building relationships with people who can maybe consult with you, as you're developing your competencies, which is super important, but also professionals who can refer clients to you. This can include doctors, school counselors, particularly if your niche is working with oppositional, defiant teenagers. You are going to be in high demand with school counselors, right? But thinking about what kinds of professionals are coming into contact with the kinds of clients that you want to work with and building those relationships. Additionally, spend some time and energy in becoming an authority. A lot of people these days are utilizing social media platforms to share content related to these niches. So you might consider joining groups or forums where potential clients might be in. And even participating in discussions. And there's so many other things you can do. You can offer workshops, seminars on topics related to your niche that can really position you as an expert, attract potential clients, and really showcase your skills and your expertise in a valuable way. Additionally, you can also get listed in specific types of directories and make sure that you are in the most relevant ones, different online platforms where clients are searching for specialized therapists can be another great way of having people who are looking for you and what you do find you specifically. Now, one word of caution about being a very online therapist is that there are, as you know, some interesting things happening with therapists or wannabe therapists on social media, essentially giving out mental health advice, talking about their clients sometimes. I mean, there's some questionable things happening. If you feel like you do need to have a robust online presence, social media presence as a therapist, I totally feel you. Hey, you may be watching this on YouTube right now. It is all good. But you need to know that there are some ethical considerations and some important do's and don'ts for doing this with style and grace. And I recorded a podcast on this topic recently. Therapists on TikTok, I think is what we called it. You can find that on my website. Go to growingself.com/therapists, or obviously just scroll back through your podcast feed or find me on YouTube. You can follow Growing Self on the socials, growing_self, to get access to that podcast episode, because it's important for us to market ourselves ethically and intentionally and put ourselves out into the world in a way that we can feel good about. And I've seen some other therapists getting in trouble with that. So I want to prevent you from having the same fate. So check out therapists on TikTok for more information. So lastly, just as some big sisterly advice, a big sister who also happens to be an experienced therapist and a clinical supervisor, is that you also need to understand that this is an ongoing process. Be patient with yourself, give yourself some time to dig in and find out what is authentically true for you, but also know that we have chosen a long-term career path. I mean, unlike some professions, you will find amazing therapists working well into their 80s and doing a great job. And so just expect that as your career grows and evolves, your area of expertise might evolve too. So yes, figure out who you are and what you want right now and go ahead and make that happen. But don't forget to regularly evaluate your practice to make sure that this is something that you're still passionate about and that it meets the needs of your clients, but also your own needs too. We all need to be doing regular self-assessments from time to time to make sure that we are still on the right track. And I just want to say out loud, it's okay to pivot if 5 or 10 years from now you wind up being a different person than you are right now, because of course you will be. So very lastly, I want to put some free resources in front of you that might help you as you go on this journey. I am including a link to one of my very favorite assessment tools. This is the Gallup Strengths Finder. I absolutely love this. I have taken this assessment personally. I frequently recommend it to my clients. It is spooky how accurate it is. I took the Gallup Strengths Finder and I was reading my report and like, are these people watching me? Like, how do they know? It actually came back like confirmed, you're a nerd. My number one strength is a love of learning. Thank you. You can feel sorry for me now, but that's part of the reason that I'm here doing these educational podcasts for you, is because it is 1,000% in alignment with my strengths and my calling, a deep love of learning, a desire to educate and help other people develop themselves. I mean, that's literally what we're doing here right now. So I hope that you give yourself permission to take this assessment and think about, what it returns and what that means about you. It isn't free. I think when I took it the last time, it was like $60, but worth every penny. It was super good. Okay. Also, we talked about additional podcasts that I'd recorded on therapists and social media. You can also find marketing a therapy practice episodes and articles on my website, growingself.com/therapists. And then, of course, if you suspect that coaching certification may be in your future, like it was in mine, please do take advantage of that free 2-part training that I made for you to help you get clarity about your career path. And even if you're not sure that you want to be a coach, maybe you want to be something completely different, you will still walk out of that training with more clarity about your own professional development process. Through the videos that I've made, we're going to talk about all kinds of things, but also through this workbook and all these exercises and self-assessments. I made it for you. It's for you. So go get it. Totally free. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Love, Happiness, and Success for Therapists. I always love being here with you, and I will be back in touch with you next week with another episode.